Hi Shannon, where are you from at the moment?
Hi, I'm the elementary school principal at Beijing BISS International School.
Great, and you've been living in Beijing for how long?
For 5 years now.
It's great, and so we're going to talk about WeChat and how that's changing education. And we all know that Beijing can have pollution from time to time, and you said a really interesting thing a moment ago when there is severe Beijing pollution and the kids have to stay at home. You were using WeChat to deliver your education. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, I'd say it's been really recent. It's only evolved this year. So if I had written a communication policy for my school at the start of this academic year, WeChat would not have been in it. I had a couple of teachers who were willing to be experimental with it. And so the way we set it up to begin with was that we decided we wanted a class WeChat group. But it was really being driven by the parents because that's where the parents were. They were no longer really on email. They were no longer really wanting pieces of paper in school bags. They were forming their own WeChat groups.
Okay, let's stop right there. WeChat has been a really useful tool in connecting your school with community and the parent group because it's using the technology that's just currently being used in the outside world. Is that correct?
Exactly, and it's about meeting people where they are. So parents were forming WeChat groups around their child's class anyway. So it was about us harnessing the power of that and saying, we are going to meet you at the technology where you are. So probably the very first way it started was crowdsourcing media. So you have an event like a sports day, and we would normally have our school photographer take a whole lot of pictures. Sometimes those become available to parents, sometimes they don't. The first time I knew that this was powerful was when we had our class WeChat set up for sports day, and the parents were sharing videos and photos of everybody's children into that WeChat group. So parents who work were in real time seeing their child do the long jump, do the high jump. And in that moment, those parents were bound together as a community of people who were not just about their child, but were crowdsourcing for each other to share the experience together.
So it's instantaneous, it's connected, and it's innovative. Okay.
And that was really before we got academic. So then the next thing we did was we had really those WeChat groups moderated by a class parent. And all we said was the teacher needs to be there and the principal needs to be there. But there's no obligation on the teacher or principal to post anything there. It's just because we're going to run it by the school, we'd like you to be there just to check that we had a few general guidelines like don't post about social issues, try to post about things that matter to everybody. We were trying to feel our way about what would be some kind of digital citizenship-y type guidelines to start with.
So you had digital citizenship in action. So rather than not using the technology and waiting till you had finished the total policy and going, okay, now it's safe. We went, let's use it. We would like you guys to oversee that. And we're going to roll that out and form that as we go. And how's that been looking for you guys?
Exactly. And I think the power was in giving it to the class parent to control. So that it was really owned by a community. It wasn't another forum that we were pushing. And so I went to a principals network one afternoon and they all said, we're banning these WeChat groups. It's terrible. These WeChat groups are full of parents slandering each other, slandering the school. What are we going to do about all this gossip that's on WeChat? And I guess my sense was it's just the same conversation that would happen in the car park, at the coffee shop. It's just a new platform and I'm actually not scared by that.
And isn't it cool that you can actually see their gossip in a way?
Sometimes not.
Okay. But it does, in a way, it's that platform where you can go, okay, look, here's some areas that they're openly sharing about that mainly would have been behind closed doors before. So it's kind of
look, I think it does give me, a temperature check of class communities. But also what happens is that when parents post things that are negative, or post things that are histrionic in some way, the power of community is that not much airtime is given to that. And it gradually dies away. And when somebody posts something that's positive or exciting or learning focused, every parent in the class sends a thumbs up or a, some kind of affirmation.
Yeah.
And the tide turns towards what people want to see is positive things that help each other.
Yes.
And the voices that we could be alarmist about actually die down eventually.
Oh, it's kind of like if you're in a room full of people and someone just kind of says something that's a bit left of centre and it's not so great, and people just kind of go, okay, let's move on, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And there've been a few occasions where I think, is this a good idea? But they are totally outweigh. Like the mother who posts, my child hasn't got off the bus today. And now I have 25 parents, and it's like living in an episode of 24 where I know all of us are sitting there thinking, where is this child? And in those moments you think, how valuable is it for everybody to be in this public forum? But that's been once or twice. Of course, the child's home the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it totally is outweighed by the benefits. So,
okay, so in a nutshell, there's a lot of benefits, and perhaps some of the things that aren't so beneficial sounds like your parents could really benefit from a open night learning about digital citizenship themselves, right?
Yeah, I
and
think
how
so.
to participate effectively in WeChat groups, and the do's and don'ts of what's allowed inside a school group.
Yeah,
So-
and I think not trying to get ahead of it. Like that basically our guidelines evolve as it happens. So we didn't think in advance we actually need to put a time frame on it. It didn't occur to us to say, let's make it between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m.
Like a curfew.
Yeah,
A WeChat curfew.
And so that's
okay.
a really obvious thing, but you don't think about it until the first person posts at midnight. And when that happens, the next morning somebody says, oh, that was a bit late, and we just reframe how we're going to use it.
So interesting, because in Australia we have this thing, a general rule is that when you don't want to be disturbed on your phone, you turn it on airplane mode or silent or whatever, and then it's like,
Yeah.
So it's good to know
some
different
parents
courtesy
needed
as well.
to be taught too. You don't have to have the notifications on.
Yeah.
And other parents want it on all the time.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest shift for me was when it went from being a parent community place, where the class mother would say, it's library day tomorrow, just remember, or it's sports day tomorrow or something, to when the teachers started to see that this was an instantaneous way to inform and educate their parents that took no time. So I have 7 groups going at the moment across the grade levels, and a day doesn't go by when there's not video or photos posted in real time of what's happening in the classroom.
Yeah.
And what that does is affirm for people our pedagogy and really just calm them down about what's happening, particularly when you're running an innovative inquiry-based pedagogy and parents are a little bit fearful that maybe we're not really teaching, maybe it's just all fun and games and creativity and really not much thinking. We can give such a window into that actually takes less work from the teachers.
So WeChat is a great window for the teachers, for the parent community into the classroom. And speaking about global education, WeChat's a great window for people to connect all over the world and do a classroom window from different countries to each other. Thank you so much for doing that really short interview today, and we look forward to visiting your school again soon.
See you soon.
Thank you.